The President, in announcing the closing of Guantanamo Bay in January of this year, failed to come forward with a plan to tell the American people what he intended to do with the rest of the remaining prisoners being held in that facility. Americans are outraged about the fact that there is now the potential for those individuals to be transferred to the United States and the possibility that some of them may be released into American society. Well, the reaction of the administration to the outcry from the American people and to the outcry from members of this body has been, well, we're going to work this out. We're going to get people to take these individuals. Well, needless to say, the previous administration had been trying to get folks to allow the return of their countrymen who were housed at Guantanamo for years, and they were not successful. That's why we still have 241 detainees at Guantanamo. Just yesterday, there was an announcement that 17 Uyghurs, or Chinese terrorists, are going to be sent to the country of Palau. And I doubt that there are many Americans who can even tell you where Palau is, but it turns out that it is a country containing many, many islands somewhere out in the Pacific, not far from the Philippines. In order to get Palau to take these 17 Uyghurs, the Obama administration is committed to paying that country $200 million, or, if my calculation is correct, about $11,764,705 per individual. Pretty good payment for taking of these prisoners. If that's the standard that we're going to be using and the precedent that we're now setting, you can just figure the numbers to look at how much money it's going to cost us to transfer these remaining prisoners to other countries. You know, Guantanamo is a symbolic issue for many people around the world. And I'm not one who's going to stand here and say that we should not close it. Obviously, there should be some long-range plan to get us out of Guantanamo and to ultimately close it. But without the administration coming forward with a plan, the American people are deservedly outraged at the fact that these individuals may be transferred to facilities, criminal facilities in the United States. They thus become eligible for all rights of individuals who are housed on U.S. domestic soil, including the right of habeas corpus, and thus, because in not every case have our soldiers been able to look a guy in the eye who's got a rifle in his hand and who's shooting at him, but they're able to disarm him and take the weapon away from him. They don't have the opportunity to gather evidence on the battlefield and to bag up all of that evidence and take the time to write down names of witnesses who saw the activity on the battlefield. So there is the potential that some of these individuals might ultimately be successful in a habeas corpus action, be set free by some judge in a U.S. court, and thus be eligible to be ingratiated into U.S. society. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I filed a bill in the Senate which prohibits, number one, any detainee at Guantanamo from being transferred to the United States. And the administration has already breached that, and that's why it's more important than ever that we consider this bill. But more importantly, if the President exercises other powers that he has outside of what may be even enacted into law, constitutional powers that he may have, and brings these individuals into the United States, my bill will prohibit any opportunity for any of these individuals who are now housed at Guantanamo from ever being released into the society of the United States. I sought to get this bill up as an amendment to the supplemental, but unfortunately my friends on the other side of the aisle saw it in a different way and wouldn't let my amendment come up. We're going to be back, and we're going to have this bill up either as a standalone bill or as an amendment at the next opportunity. to make sure that we do everything we can as members of the United States Senate that voted 90-6 to not bring these individuals from Guantanamo to the United States, to again have the opportunity to vote on this issue and to make sure that not only do we not bring them here, but that if by some quirk the President decides we ought to bring them here and he does so, then there's never the opportunity for those individuals to be released into the United States, into any of our communities, irrespective of where they may reside. So, Mr. President, I simply would close tonight and say that this is a very, very serious issue that, in fact, is being considered by the conferees, I understand, on the supplemental that we voted on a couple of weeks ago tonight. And the language that was agreed to by that 90-6 vote may be in jeopardy. The Democrats may be trying to pull that particular provision in the supplemental out of the supplemental and to thereby not have language in there that would prohibit these individuals from coming into our country. I think that is certainly against the will of the American people, is certainly against the will of the United States Senate in a big way, and I think would be a huge mistake. So, Mr. President, I look forward to continuing the debate on this issue. I look forward to our bill coming up, either in the form of a standalone bill or in the form of an amendment, because this is an issue that's not going away until we figure out a way to deal with these individuals that are incarcerated at Guantanamo in a lawful manner as enemy combatants, and that we figure out a way to deal with them on a long-term basis that ultimately will allow us to leave Guantanamo and close that facility.